What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to MLB The Show 25 franchise series. We have four teams left: Angels, A's, or Athletics, Mariners, and Rangers. We're doing the Los Angeles Angels today. A team that, listen, they went out and spent some money. Whether you agree with how they spent that money with Rendon and Josh Hamilton and a bunch of other names, you could definitely debate whether it was spent right, but they have been aggressive in spending money in the past. And I'm gonna spend, money with this team. This team, like I said, is a team that likes to spend money. So it ain't like I'm just gonna have a low budget like with some other teams. So let's take a look at this roster. So you have UC Kikuchi, who they signed the offseason, 3 year, 21.2 million per year. Had a really good year with the Blue Jays slash Astros. And they don't really give a lot of starting pitchers money. You have Jose Soriano, who's 26 years old, got him under club control for many seasons. Tyler Anderson, final year of his deal, 35 years old. Could put him on the trade block regardless, see what we can get back for him. Kyle Hendricks, another guy who's on a 1 year deal. So the starting rotation is going to be a, process of just trying to get fixed because we don't have an ace. We really don't have anybody right now that's, a clear cut, like, okay, this person's going to be a long-term answer in our rotation. You have Chase Silseth, who's 24 years old, been up and down his major league career, and you look through, they don't really have any top pitching prospects. So through the draft, that's something we're definitely going to have to focus on. Bullpen, you have Jose Quijada, I think that's how you pronounce it. 29 years old, guy who's due free agency at 2029, so we're good there. Hunter Strickland, the veteran. Carson Fulmer. Bullpen's definitely another spot where we definitely need to get some help because there's just not much here at all in the bullpen. Kenley Jansen, the veteran, another guy's in the final year of his deal. Could look to move him. He's really going to start declining in overall. One of the best closers ever, though. Ben Joyce is probably the most promising of our bullpen arms, and really probably of all our arms in the system. A guy who throws 100 miles per hour, fortunately got hurt, but definitely going to add him to the 40-man. You have Logan O'Hoppe. Now, this is where the Angels have a lot of promise in their position player core. Logan O'Hoppe is a guy with a lot of power, 25 years old, coming off a 20 home run season. He'll be a big part of what we do. We have Travis d'Arnaud as our backup catcher, signed for another season after this. And then after that, no top catching prospects, but we'll be fine with Logan O'Hoppe. Nolan Shaniel. I always mispronounce this guy's name for some reason. But Nolan Shaniel, 23 years old, got good contact, not a lot of power. But man, they got some young players who have a lot of promise, and that's something the Angels a few years ago couldn't really say. Lamonte Wade Jr., they got him off waivers from the Giants last year of his deal. We'll see how he does as a bench bat. Second base, you got Kyron Paris, who's only a D potential, which is interesting, but he hasn't really hit the major league level. Christian Moore is a guy who's a very high on, could make a splash. Maybe we use him as a trade chip to upgrade this rotation. Luis Rendifos really fell off in overall last year of his deal. Kevin Newman, another guy. So there's a lot of veterans with expiring contracts on this team who we could look to move. Yohan Moncada, they signed to a 1 year deal. He's played pretty well for them. Still great power against right-handers. Man, a few years ago, you would have thought this guy was like a promising young member of that White Sox core, and he was for a while, but that whole White Sox core really fell apart. Anthony Rendon, we're going to try to offload that contract, $35 million per year. Still, it just hasn't worked out for Anthony Rendon, unfortunately, and sometimes that happens. Shortstop, you got Zach Neto, who's really one of the best young shortstops in the game, coming off a 23 home run season, has got tremendous power and contact against lefties. And you have Scott Kingery, who didn't work out as well with the Phillies. Left field, you got Taylor Ward, who has another year after this. If we get a good offer for Taylor Ward, definitely could trade him, but he's going to be a big part of our lineup, I think, especially with powers against right-handers. Chris Taylor, they took a gamble on. But this, they at the major league level, they have a lot of good young prospects, but the minor league level, they don't really have any promising young prospects at all. You have Joe Odell, who's finally starting to get a little bit more consistent with more playing time. He's able to stay healthy. That's great to see. He signed for the rest of the franchise in center field. And then Mike Trout, one of the best to ever do it, has had trouble staying healthy. Is there a world where we potentially look to move Mike Trout? He'll be 36 in the final year of this deal, I believe, or the final year of this franchise. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but if we get a really good package for Mike Trout where we really could build through multiple positions, I would consider moving Mike Trout. We'll see, though. Jorge Soler, the veteran, could look to move him as well. So there's a lot of movable pieces on this team, but a lot of good young players with Neto and Shaniel and O'Hoppe. I mean, I really am going to probably have fun trying to get this Angels team back to the playoffs because I like some of the players they got. So I'm going to look through free agency and trades, see if there's any quick or easy trades, or not easy trades, but I can't even get my words out right now. Trades that we can make before the season starts to try to help this team. I'm going to look through them and let you guys know if we make any deals. So first trade we're going to trade Jack. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pronounce this. Jack Kokanowski. Think I'm pronouncing that right. He's really the gem of this package, a solid prospect. We're also going to throw in Kyle Hendricks. He don't have a long-term future with this team. And also Dakota Hudson for David Festa, who's been good for me previously in franchise when I had the Twins, if you guys saw that video. So we're taking a gamble a little bit on a 24-year-old, but he had some promise because we don't really have a lot of really young pieces that really above sea potential in this rotation at all. So hopefully this helps our rotation. So we're going to accept this trade from the Pirates. David Bednar for Jorge Soler. Bednar has a year after this of arbitration, as do our bullpen that's really low in overalls. And Jorge Soler has $14 million due this year, next year, and he just hasn't really produced like that. He's getting up there in age. I think this is a fair offer. So here's how our first draft went in this franchise. Now, our first round pick, second overall, is injured currently, but his stats, at least when I was looking at him, listen, I've had some bad drafts in the previous years because I think, oh yeah, this player's gonna be really good, and I draft him, and it's just like a 50 overall with C potential. But Mitchell Sanchez, look at his present stats; they're really good. Could potentially be a frontline number one, number two guy. 22 years of age. Hopefully he's healthy by next season. I don't know. That's the gamble we took, but I think he hopefully will pay off. We drafted Chad Cordova with our second round pick, 18 years old, potential to be very good as an outfielder. Chad Salazar, another starting pitcher. Taylor Gimsey, a catcher, which we need some better catching depth in the organization. Center field, Harvey Brett, which we need some better outfield depth as well. Really, this team needs better prospect depth all around. We got a relief pitcher, Douglas Rowe, and that's how our first draft went. So hopefully some of these players are ready to contribute right away next season. From the Cincinnati Reds, Ty Floyd, who's 22 years old, C potential, 63 overall. He's pitching a solid season in Double-A right now. For Yohan Moncada, who's a free agent to be, he's having a solid year, like 8 home runs, 34 RBI. He's hitting 264. Free agent after the year. It's better to get something better than losing them for nothing. I don't even know if he's really a part of our long-term solution at third base. So we're going to go ahead and trade him to the Cincinnati Reds. Another trade we're going to accept, Garrett Whitlock from the Red Sox. He has 4 years left on his deal at a very reasonable contract, like $4.7 million per year. He's having a really good year, 2.36 ERA as to our bullpen. For Tyler Anderson, who's dropping overall, he's having an okay season, ERA over 4. Free agent to be. Like, might as well get rid of some of these guys. We ain't having the best season. I'll show you guys how our season's been looking here in a few. But I think this is a solid trade to get for a guy who's on an expiring contract. The Dodgers offered us this trade, and this is a very tempting trade. Hung-Sung Kim, who 26 years of age, is having a solid year. 5 home runs, 39 RBIs, hitting 275 for Taylor Ward, who, again, has another year left of arbitration after this. He's not having a bad year power-wise either. 16 home runs, 42 runs driven in. 31 years old, 26 years old. We don't really have a long-term solution to second base. We do have some young players, but we don't know if Christian Moore is going to be ready to contribute in this franchise. So I think this is a pretty good trade to accept, in my opinion. So here we are, our first trade deadline, sitting in last place, 48-61. It's not been a good season. The division's basically Astros, Mariners right now. Let's see why we've been struggling so much. So we take a look at the lineup. We just got Hung-Sung Kim, which, I mean, he's played well. I ain't really too mad at his stats. Nolan Shaniel, I'll take that. 12 home runs, 40 RBIs, hitting 271. I mean, about similar to his production last year in less games. So you like to see that. Zach Neto's having a really good season so far. 16 home runs, 57 runs driven in. He's hitting 295. All career highs so far. So you love to see that from a young player. Mike Trout's been raking. He's been healthy. He's had 25 home runs, driven in 69. He's slugging 551. Anthony Rendon, we decided to, give him an opportunity at third base after the trade. We're paying him 25 or 35 million a year. Might as well let him play at the major leagues at this point. Don't know if we're really going to be able to move him. We'll try, but it's not a guarantee. But he's hitting 444. He's hitting in this franchise. Logan O'Hoppe is raking 30 home runs and already is driven in 73. showing a lot of pop. Joe Adell, like not bad numbers wise. You expect more power, but he's hitting 289. Like you love to see the average, but he's not really been a guy who's ever hit for average, so that's good to see. Kyron Paris has been okay. 4 home runs, 20 RBIs, hitting 241. Chris Taylor, who's really just been playing everywhere for us off the bench, not provide a whole lot offensively. Never really expected him to. And we look at the bench, Luis Rendifo, a guy who we could look to move, has not provided a whole lot offensively, only hitting 234. Christian Moore has only played 1 game. Travis d'Arnaud is a backup catcher, only hit 169. And then Kevin Newman off the bench hitting 214. So our bench is definitely not a strong suit either. Our lineup's not bad at the top of the order. Like Shaniel, Kim, Neto, Trout, O'Hoppe, like that's a good 1 through 5. You know, even Joe Odell, like 1 through 6 were good. It's the bottom of the order that's really been struggling. So we take a look at the pitching side, which I was concerned about. David Festa has been solid, like 8-6, 4.09 ERA. He's not a true number one. We don't have a number one right now. That's something we're going to have to try to get in free agency. But right now, like, you know, if he was a 2 or 3, I wouldn't be mad at that. Kikuchi's having a good year. Could we look to move him and open up some money? Possibly. 3.91 ERA. Jose Soriano's not had a good year, ERA over 5. Willie Gutierrez was a guy who was pitching extremely well in AAA. And his first start, he pitched 8 innings, 1.13 ERA so far. So you like to see that from a young player. Maybe he gets, you know, going, and maybe he's a solution out of our bullpen or something. And then Chase Silset's been awful this year, ERA close to 6, 1-8 record. Take a look at the bullpen. Garrett Whitlock's been fantastic, 2.32 ERA. Hans Kraus, who I signed in free agency, 2.01 ERA for him. So he's been lights out. Hunter Strickland, the veteran, another guy we could look to move. 3.25 ERA. He's pitched well. Ben Joyce has not been good this year. ERA over 5. David Bednar, who we also got in a trade, has had a solid year. 3.87 ERA, 3-1 record. Jose Quinhada, ERA over 5. Was hoping for a better season from him. Zach Jackson's been solid in that setup role. 3.02 ERA. And then Kenley, 31 saves. ERA is definitely high, close to 5. And another guy we could look to move at you know, here in a few, at the trade deadline. So, first season, just, you know, write it up as a lost season, unfortunately. What we really need to focus on trading is veterans on expiring deals, maybe get some young players back that we could look to eventually move in the offseason, something like that. I don't think we're going to get any really pitchers that really solidify our rotation right now. And I'll see what's out there and see what moves we can make, and then we'll send them the rest of the season and get on with season 2. So one trade we're going to trade Kenley Jansen and Hunter Strickland, 2 free agents to be to the Colorado Rockies, which I'm not sure why the Rockies want 2 expiring contracts, but hey, they're the ones making this deal, not me. For Jake Bird, who's 29 years old, only due $800K this year. I believe he's not a free agent for a good amount of seasons, so we're going to make this deal, and it adds a better overall player to our bullpen. We're going to make this trade Miguel Amaya from the Cubs, which we need some young catching depth in our organization. Like, even if he's a backup or a guy in AAA for a season or 2, we need a better catcher. Luis Rendifo's an expiring contract. Carson Fulmer's down in AAA right now. We just don't have room for him. It opens up some cap space. It adds a young catcher to our team. We're going to get rid of Anthony Rendon for a D potential first base prospect. This is a salary dump for the Rangers. We all know this. And I'm not sure why the Giants are offering this trade, but hey, it's too good to pass up. Chris Taylor, who has another year left on his deal, and UC Kikuchi, who's 33, has 3 years left on his deal. For Randy Rodriguez, who's been one of the best relievers in baseball for the Giants, 87 overall at 25 years of age. He really could be our new closer, and we really could use a lot of this money we're trading away to make the rotation better, so we're going to accept this deal. So first season's a bust. We end up finishing 65-97. Didn't really expect us to have a fantastic first season, but really expected better than 97 losses. So really just disappointing first season. So we got some work to do. So let's say everybody finished the season. Hung-Sung Kim, 261 average, 9 home runs, 52 RBI. I don't really get how his overall is dropping from that. Like, that's not, you know, a season that you go, wow, but it's not like a horrible season. Nolan Shaniel didn't really have a good second half at all. Like, his numbers were basically the same. I mean, this guy just like go into a second half slump where he barely did anything. That's crazy. Wow. Mike Trout finished with a Mike Trout healthy season. 153 games played, 32 homers, 105 runs driven in, slugged .519. Zach Neto, Awesome season for him as well, similar to last year. 24 home runs, 80 RBIs, played 152 games. Joe Adell, I'll take that. 19 home runs, 60 RBIs. Miguel Amaya, excuse me. The reason he's up because Logan O'Hoppe ended up getting injured like the last week of the season. Didn't give us bad production in limited time. 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Christian Moore didn't really just didn't play a lot. Kyron Paris, like 12 home runs, showing a little bit of pop. Scott Kingery didn't really give us a lot of production. Look at the bench. Matthew Lugo, who was a guy who was performing well in the minor leagues, didn't really make an impact at the major league level. Nico Carvadas did make an impact. 12 for 34, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, hit 353. Travis d'Arnaud just didn't have a good offensive season. And then Kevin Newman didn't have a good offensive season as well. So bench is another area we're definitely have to focus on. So we look at the pitching side. David Festa, 4.25 ERA, 9.11 record. He won't be our ace next season, but he'll definitely be a solid 3 or 4 in our rotation. Caden Dana was a guy who was on the 40-man, pitched solid in AAA, gave us solid numbers up here as well, 4.08 ERA. Jose Soriano just couldn't get it going this year, 7.9, ERA over 5. Willie Gutierrez, after a promising start, man, he did not finish the season good. ERA close to 7. Yikes. And then Chase Silseth just didn't pitch well either. 2-15 record, ERA over 5. So our rotation, really outside of David Festa, is a lot of question marks. I mean, we got a lot of holes to fill in this rotation. Garrett Whitlock ended up finishing a solid year, 3.06 ERA. Hans Kraus was a pleasant surprise. He's actually been kind of a low-key a cheat code in franchise. Like, if you guys ever need a reliever at a free agency who's cheap and not really expensive and young, this guy's definitely an answer for you. Just a little, suggestion from a guy who plays a lot of franchise mode. Jake Bird, who we got at the deadline, 2.08 ERA, so he's definitely a solution to our bullpen going forward. Ben Joyce had a better second half, 6-3 record, ERA just over 4. David Bednar, who's going to be an expiring contract next year, gave us good numbers, 3.92 ERA. Jose Quijada just didn't get it going, ERA under 5, but higher than what we expected. Zach Jackson gave us an awesome year, 7-10 record, 86 innings, ERA under 3. And then Randy Rodriguez, how about his numbers? 31 saves, 3 blown saves, .40 ERA on the season. This guy's definitely a long-term solution at closer going forward. So, what do we need to focus on in the offseason? Starting rotation is number one priority, no doubt. I mean, the starting rotation is a mess right now. We did trade away some veterans at the deadline, obviously just expiring contracts. So we got some money to spend. Bullpen, we could definitely maybe add an arm, but I wouldn't be mad if we left it how it is. We do have some guys who had good seasons. Catcher, we're set. Logan O'Hoppe, if we look how he finished the season, 34 home runs. I mean, he definitely raked. First base, we're good. Second base, we're good. Third base is definitely a position we need. Shortstop, and then left field. So left field, third base, and starting rotation. That is our needs. Let's see who ends up winning the World Series in our first season. The Mets have defeated the Mariners. We lost Ron Washington to retirement, which I hope he gets well because I know he had to step down this season due to medical problems or personal reasons or whatever they said it was. So we don't really have any guys in free agency that we need to bring back. I mean, Lamonte Wade Jr., Kevin Newman, and Ben Game were all guys we're going to just let walk. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll see you guys start the second season. Can we finish any better than we did last season? I would hope so. Let's see some of the moves we made. So we went out and signed a few starting pitchers. Now, we couldn't get an ace. A lot of the aces just did not want to sign here. Unfortunately, a lot of our draft picks were busts that we drafted last season. And we just don't have the prospect capital to go out and trade for a clear number one unless it's more of a salary dump. So we signed Eric Fetty, which is a Cardinal fan. I've been very disappointed in his performance recently. I'm not even going to get started on that. But 2-year, $20 million per year. Eric Fetty is your ace. I'm not saying that's very convincing. But, hey, we got 2 new starters in here. It's better than nothing right now. Maybe we could try to get somebody at the trade deadline. Zach Gallen, we also signed, just coming off a really bad season, ERA over 5. Hopefully he gets back to that Zach Gallen we saw in previous years. So our rotation is going to be Fetty, Gallen, Festa, Soriano, and Chase Silseth. Now, my confidence in the starting rotation, very low. Because we don't have really a number one or even a number two right now. We just have 3 we just have 5 number 4, 5s, 3s right now. I would say Fetty and Gallen are more 3s, but man, it's not looking very convincing. Bullpen's pretty much the same. I didn't make any moves towards the bullpen. Didn't really feel a need to. Catcher still the same. First base, second base. We did sign Gabriel Arias to a minor league deal or like a bench role. Young player. We'll see how he performs. We did sign Eugenio Suarez to a 2-year deal. I know he's 34, but he's coming off a 41 home run year. His contract's now outrageous, only 17.8. I'd rather be paying him than Rendon right now. 41 home runs, though. He adds big pop to our lineup, solid defense. Hopefully he really fills that gap at third base. And then left field, we went out and traded for Jason Dominguez. We didn't give up a ton for him, which is good. He's coming off a 20 home run season. He's 23 years of age. Hopefully he's going to have a big time season. And we didn't, again, have to trade anything crazy. We signed Christopher Morel to a bench role as well. I had high hopes for Christopher Morel, and every time I get him in franchise, he doesn't always work out. Maybe he will this time around. And then we still got the same cast in center and right. So the rotations are really the only thing that worries me. I think offensively this lineup's going to be very good. So we'll have to see how it goes. So let's get the second season underway. In draft, we got one more after this, but I probably won't show the third final season just because it don't really matter. So let's be the final draft picks we show. Richard Valdez with our first round selection. 19 years old, has a lot of potential, but I also thought our first round pick last season was going to be something too, and he has deep potential. So what do I know, I guess? But he has very good stats. We remove him real quick. So we got him. We got Ray Miller, who's a closer, has really good offensive stats. We really need some good closers in the organization. You know, young players that could really potentially blossom into something. So hopefully he does that. Al Tremaine doesn't look very convincing, but sometimes it doesn't need to be. Maybe he'll turn out to be something. Chris Tejada, who we'll see. Shortstop had very good offensive stats. We'll see how he turns out, though. Ashton Mayo, relief pitcher, solid stats as well. William Long, a relief pitcher. So we went to a lot of pitching in this draft, so hopefully it pans out. Trade from the O's, Keegan Aiken, who's having a solid year, 3.19 ERA. He is a free agent to be for Travis d'Arnaud. Maybe we can re-sign Keegan Aiken. d'Arnaud has not been really much in this franchise, and we can give Miguel Amaya an opportunity to catch as a backup. And we're sitting at 56 and 55. Definitely better than what we were last year, but not a very good season. So we look at the wild card. We're in the race, though, for that third and final wild card spot. So there is some hope with this team. There's a lot of teams in the pecking order here for that final wild card spot. So we're going to see what we need here, and hopefully we can make a run. So Hung-Sung Kim, you know, I'm not mad at his numbers he's put up so far. Like, he's not going to knock your socks off with his numbers, but he's just a very solid MLB player right now. In that leadoff spot, you know what you're going to get from him, and I can't be mad at that. Noah Shaniel, not having a good year. He's been a very disappointing part of this franchise so far. Like, I thought he was going to take a big leap. Last season, didn't really do much, and he's having even a worse season this year. So maybe first base is something we got to look at. Mike Trout, numbers are dropping definitely, but still being, you know, productive, middle of the order bat, 18 home runs, 61 RBIs. And Eugenio Suarez was a good pickup, 28 home runs so far, 67 RBIs. We do have some teams offering us some trades for him, but I was like, nah, let's not move him. Zach Neto, I mean, his numbers are down, but he's still probably going to have a career year when it comes to statistics. It's not too mad at it. Joe Adell, going to have a career year as well. You like to see that. Miguel Amaya, who Logan O'Hoppy's just hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's out the whole season. I believe he's out the whole season. Yeah, torn ACL. He got hurt at the end of the season last year, so he did play a majority of the season last year. We really needed him this season, and torn ACL is just horrible. And he's probably going to have another 30 home run years, so that's a huge loss for our lineup. Back to lineup, though, Matthew Lugo, who I believe he's taking over for an injured player as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Jason Dominguez is out 1 to 2 months with the forearm fracture, and he was playing fantastic baseball, 340 average, 10 home runs, 26 RBIs, was slugging 566. Hopefully we can get him back if we end up making the playoffs. But that's 2 big bats missed from our lineup right now. And then we look at Christopher Morel. Has been okay. I mean, his numbers are pretty identical to last year in less games. Leo Jimenez, not really much offensively. De La Cruz, who's a backup catcher now that we traded d'Arnaud, hasn't done much yet. Kyron Paris has not provided a whole lot. And then Gabriel Arias has been okay off the bench. So offensively, not that impressive. Maybe we could use another bat. We'll see what's out there. We look at the pitching. Zach Gallen. I mean, I'll take that. Like 9-5, 3.30 ERA is way better than last year. Eric Fetties gave us solid numbers as well. 7-11 ERA just under 4. David Festa, you know, from a number 3, you'll take that. ERA just over 4. Jose Soriano, you'll take that as well from a number 4, 6, and 8. And then Chase Silseth, not bad. So the rotation, surprisingly, has been a bright spot. Like, nobody's pitching like an ace, but I didn't expect any of them to. They're pitching better than what I expected. Jose Quinjada has been a lot better, 2.57 ERA. He is a free agent after the year, so maybe we could try to re-sign him. Zach Jackson having a down year compared to last year, ERA close to 5. David Bednar not really having a good year either compared to last year, ERA over 4. Garrett Whitlock has been awful this year, 6.02 ERA. Ben Joyce, ERA close to 5. Was really hoping he took a step forward this year. Maybe he still can. Jake Bird's been a very good surprise. Again, I don't get why MLB The Show drops overall when you're performing as well. 2.17 ERA. Keegan Aiken's been a good pickup. And then Randy Rodriguez has been lights out. I guess a 1.63 ERA gets your overall to drop in MLB The Show. I mean, I don't understand. I know he's not as good as last year, but man, has he been good. So if I fix the bullpen real quick. Okay, there we go. So really, pitching-wise, outside of Whitlock, we're really not having bad pitching. I feel like offensively is what we really need to focus on. Like, yeah, can we use an ace? Absolutely. But, you know, if it's not available at a reasonable amount, which it probably won't be, then, you know, I can't be mad at that. There are some names out there on the market. You know, Matt Chapman, which, I mean, he is younger than Daniel Suarez, but he's not having a fantastic offensive year. Like, we definitely could use a DH. We could get an outfielder, but, you know, we got, I can't even think of his name. That's bad on me. Jason Dominguez. We're going to get him back in 1 or 2 months. We don't really need to focus on an outfielder. Really just another bat to put at the bottom of the order right now, like just a designated hitter. So I'm going to look through and see what's out there. If we end up making another move, I'll let you guys know. Award winners. Gold gloves for Mike Trout and Kim. But another lost season. We end up finishing 78-84, 14 games back. The wild card hunt, we ended up falling behind the pack, 6 games out of that. So back-to-back losing seasons in this franchise. We got one final season to try to get this Angels team with the playoffs. I'm not even going to say win a World Series, just get to the playoffs at this point. Let's see how everybody did before we get on with the third and final season after free agency. Hung-Sung Kim, you know, expected a better year than he had, but again, Mr. Consistency with the numbers he usually puts up. Just Nolan Shaniel just hasn't produced. I mean, he had a worse year than last year, and he didn't even have a good year last year, really. Like, that's not what you want to see from a younger player. He's regressing as he keeps playing. Like, that's not good. I'm guessing Major League pitchers have figured him out. Maybe we turn him into a bench bat next season, like, and get a first baseman up in here. We do have Gabriel Arias. I believe Mike Trout got hurt. Yes, he's hurt, so that's why Arias is hitting third in our lineup. Gave us okay numbers, about where he was last year. Daniel Suarez, can't be mad at his numbers. 35 home runs, 88 runs driven in. Zach Neto with another good season, 26 home runs, 80 RBIs. Joe Adell with a career high 29 home runs, 82 RBIs, slugged 523, so a career year for him. Miguel Amaya was okay in the catcher spot. Hopefully Logan O'Hoppe stays healthy next year. Chase Dominguez had a great season. It sucks he got hurt when he was having such a good season. Imagine his numbers if he would have kept playing. Hit 326 though. Chris Morel gave us pretty good production. I mean, I ain't mad at that. He'll definitely be a bench bat next season as well. 12 home runs. And we look at the bench, Mike Trout, 25 home runs. Definitely took a step back this year, but he also played 19 less games. Matthew Lugo didn't provide much. De La Cruz didn't provide much, and then Kyron Paris gave us a little bit of pop off the bench. So offensively, we are okay. Zach Gallen, I'll take that. 500 record, 3.84 ERA for him. Eric Fetty, solid year. Lost 16 games, 3.88 ERA. David Festa, about where he was last year. Jose Soriano, a better year, which is good for a 4-starter, 4.23 ERA. Then Chase Silseth bounced back. So we might still go out and get a number 1 or number 2 if we can, but I was impressed with how this rotation performed overall. Jose Quinjada, who's a free agent, had a fantastic year. Didn't pitch a lot of innings, but 2.33 ERA. Zach Jackson had a down year, ERA over 4.5. David Bednar, ERA over 4 in his walk year. We'll see if we try to re-sign him. There might be some better options out there. Ben Joyce has just not pitched well in this franchise, unfortunately, which sucks because you really thought he'd be the type of guy who, took a big step forward. And then you look at Keegan Aiken. I mean, I'll take that. Even though he didn't have a good year last year, you'll take those numbers. And then Jake Bird, I mean, he's been dynamite in this franchise so far. Hans Kraus was awful this year after a great year last year, 6.15 ERA. And then Randy Rodriguez, I mean, 1.78 ERA, I mean, dynamite. I ain't even going to say he regressed this year because that's still just a fantastic year. So, rotation, if we can, get a clear number one to try to lead this rotation. Lineup-wise, we definitely need to go out and get a first baseman. I just don't think Nolan Schanuel's really going to turn in anything in this franchise, unfortunately. And maybe another bench bat, but I do think this team has potential to get to the playoffs. We just got to have everybody healthy and really just have everybody performing. So I'm going to get on with this off season. I'll see you guys at the start of the third and final season. Final season of the franchise, we made some moves. We went out and signed Freddie Peralta. We used a lot of our cap space to get him, $30 million a year. Final season, we had to make a big-time move. We tried to get Tarek Skubal. He went to Houston, our division rival, so that's going to make them tough to beat. But Freddie Peralta adds this rotation. And then bullpen-wise, we didn't really add. Ray Miller, though, actually looks like a solid prospect, so at least I got a win there. We did sign Rhys Hoskins to platoon with Nolan Schanuel just because, we needed something. I mean, he has not performed. And then other than that, pretty much the same team. I mean, I think offensively we're good. It's just pitching. And we add Freddie Peralta to this team. I think that really puts us over the top. So let's get this third and final season underway. Hopefully it's a success. Trade deadline. And again, it's just looking like a lost season with this Angels team. This might be the first, I think, franchise. I could be wrong. But I think this is the first franchise where I failed to even make the wild card or playoffs in all 3 seasons. Even with the White Sox, I made the playoffs, I think, in the third season, I believe. It's just been bad luck for me with the Angels. So Angels fans, it's not looking good. I apologize. Yeah, we're not making the playoffs. We're 11.5 back. It's 0 for 3. And, it's just one of them franchises where it ain't like I didn't try to make moves to improve the roster. Could I have done more? Absolutely. I can say that for every franchise. But it just hasn't worked out. And then you look at Freddie Peralta, he's not even pitching that well for us. So I'm going to go ahead and send him to the end of the season. We'll see how everybody performed, and we'll get this video wrapped up. We end up finishing our final season 73-8. Now, we didn't even get close to winning any of the divisions, any of the wild cards. It just was a disaster in this franchise. Like, I really had hope for this Angels team, and it just didn't work out. So let's see how everybody did in this final season. Again, Hung-Sung Kim, Mr. Consistency. He's going to give you around the same numbers every single season. Gabriel Reyes just didn't do much. 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, only hit 224. Mike Trout, good year. 29 home runs, 109 RBIs, hit 292, slugged 558, his highest slugging since 2022. Logan O'Hoppe was healthy this year, and look at the numbers he put up when he was healthy. 30 home runs, 92 RBIs. So he gave us good 2 out of 3 seasons. Zach Neto, he's been Mr. Consistency too. Around 25 home runs every year. Rhys Hoskins, we signed the offseason, gave us a good year. 25 home runs, 77 runs driven in. Joe Odell with another, not as good as last year, but a solid season overall. 22 home runs. Schanuel had a better year, I guess, but still just didn't really produce. I really had high hopes for him in this franchise. Eniel Suarez was hurt a lot of the season, just didn't really get going. 23 home runs, 70 RBIs. And you look at the bench, Miguel Amaya had a good year, was a backup catcher, 279 average. Matthew Lugo did not produce, 170 or 194 average. Chris Morel, you'll take that production off your bench, 7 home runs. And then Nico Carbadas, 6 for 23 in limited action. So offensively, just not where we wanted to be. A lot of injuries this year. Freddie Peralta really was a bust as an ace this year. He's coming off a 4.27 ERA a year, so it ain't like he pitched like an ace last year. We really thought he was going to come in here and lead this rotation. We were maybe going to make a wild card. It just didn't happen, unfortunately. Zach Gallen, you'll take that. 4.02 ERA. Eric Fetty, not bad at all. 3.58 ERA. I wish he pitched like that in real life for the Cardinals. Maybe we'd actually be better. David Festa, pretty identical year to last year. Same ERA, 4.28. And Jose Soriano, ERA just over or just under 5. So rotation, not really that impressive this season. Chase Silseth had an awful season, 6.71 ERA after taking a better step last season. George Klassen, you'll take that, 3.31 ERA for the rookie. Jake Bird, another consistently good year for him. He was a great pickup for us. Jose Quijada, who we re-signed, 3.43 ERA. You'll take that. Ben Joyce was up and down in this franchise. Like, he wasn't horrible, but he wasn't, like, great like I expect him to eventually be. Zach Jackson with a fantastic season to finish it up for him, 2.15 ERA. Connor Brogdon didn't pitch. And then Randy Rodriguez just didn't get it going this year. 34 saves, 8 blown saves, and a 4.43 ERA. So that wraps it up for this franchise, ladies and gentlemen. Again, very disappointed about how this franchise went, 0 for 3. But hey, you can't win them all, right? The next team will be the Athletics, which that should be a very interesting team. Then we have the Mariners and the Rangers. So 3 more franchises to go. Make sure to like and subscribe for more gaming content. If you like professional wrestling, check out the LTQ Wrestling Crew channel in the description below. We talk about everything wrestling. So if you like that, that's definitely for you. So appreciate you guys tuning in and the support as always. Peace.